Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of the Hemi Brothers. So today, this video is satisfying a request from one of my buddies, Rajesh Rambaran, asking for a little bit more of a in-depth dive on the Challenger. So I'm not going to spend too much time going down the rabbit hole on production numbers and all that stuff, unless you're really a die-hard Dodge fan. I imagine that could bore you to tears. But just a reminder, this is a 2016 Challenger Hellcat. So this would be the second year for production, 2015 of course being the first. 2015 they started off pretty low numbers, 7,168, just based on the information I could gather. 2016 they ramped that up pretty considerably, 11,995. Now, one stipulation for this car was for us to get an automatic. And before you thumb your nose at that, that was just to where the wife could enjoy it too. You guys are brave enough trying to teach manual transmissions on a car like this to your significant other at risk of damage in the transmission. More power to you, but she just would rather have the automatic, and I don't blame her. Kind of makes this more convenient for long hauls and stuff like that. So the automatics made up the bulk of these cars, about 75%. I couldn't find exact numbers on that. So of just shy of 12,000, 75% were autos. Also, the colors. So Dodge and Mopar are great about offering some really cool colors. This one is called B5 Blue. Not one of the rarest colors, but at the same time, it's fairly rare. There's only 4 colors that have less production than this. The B5 ended up with, what was it, 861, and of those, only 108 came with the carbon factory racing stripes. So what you are looking at in all the world, if the numbers are right, is a 1 in 108 car. I think that's worth mentioning. Pretty cool. As far as the wheels, there's a few different options on Challengers. I believe the code on these are the FR70s. In my humble opinion, this is the best looking wheel, or at least style, that Dodge has had since starting production in 15 and even to current day. I love the look of those spokes. It's just really cool. All right, guys, well, that kind of gives you a brief rundown of the history and the exterior of the car. Let's move on to the interior. Okay, as promised, we're going to take a quick look at the interior on this car. Not gonna hurt my feelings one bit. It is January and it is very cold, so we're gonna move inside. So what you're looking at is the black Laguna leather on the seats. Anybody who's been fortunate enough to take a ride in these cars, these seats are awesome. Great bolstering, the leather is nice and supple. This is a bigger car than what you may be used to with the Camaros and Mustangs. In my opinion, the Camaros and Mustangs are what you would consider a pony car. This is not. This is built on a bigger chassis, full-blown muscle car. Not making a stab at Chevy or Ford with that. In fact, my previous car was a Camaro SS, which I really enjoyed. But as my son was growing and getting bigger, the back seat in that Camaro was very small. This one, not at all. Great interior room, a real back seat. Put this thing in just your regular traveling mode, and this thing could be a great ride for longer trips and things like that. And like we talked about, go ahead and take your stabs at me if you wish, but it is an automatic. But I don't mind it one bit, because you're feeling froggy, got the paddle shifters. guys. That is your view of the interior. All right, so let me apologize for not getting the engine bay all shiny and prettied up for you guys, but like I said in the last segment, it is January and quite cold. I'm trying to spend more time outside than I have to. What you're looking at is the engine bay, obviously. Not a heck of a lot's been done to this car, at least to this point. The biggest thing that's going to be standing out is the AFE Momentum GT cold air intake. Really great piece. Lucked out. Got that used on Facebook Marketplace. A little bit of dress up with some covers here to hide the yellow plastic. Kind of helps out in my opinion. Yeah, not a heck of a lot to show there, but I like that Dodge didn't go way out of their way to hide everything in engine bays. Nothing's more annoying than trying to, pop the hood on a muscle car and you're greeted with a bunch of cheap looking plastic. Not so much in this one. All right, so let's answer the question of noise. So right now we are sitting inside the car at idle. Very reasonable in my opinion. I think the car is insulated really good, and the factory exhaust is pretty tame, pretty reasonable. So if you're thinking about taking these cars on a longer road trip or things like that, and you're kind of worried about it getting obnoxious over time, I really don't see that being a problem at all. In fact, I will rev it a couple times, get you a feel for that part of it too. So, a little burble there at the end, but like I said, very reasonable. In fact, maybe depending on what you want out of these, maybe a little too reasonable. I'll be honest, I've got some changes coming in terms of the exhaust just to kind of wake this up a little bit. My last car was a Camaro SS, essentially straight piped, had a big old choppy cam in it, so I kind of missed the noise a little. So we're trying to bridge that gap a little bit. And if I'll hint at a upcoming video in terms of likes and dislikes of the car, one thing I wish Dodge had not done is put a soft limiter on these things when you're trying to rev. Let me do it one more time here. Goes up to $4,000 and just kind of stops. I'm sure Dodge has their reasons for that. You're not trying to get crazy with it and blow up a expensive supercharged motor, but for me, I want it to be just a tad bit more rowdy. There we go, guys, on the business end of the car. Like I said, overall noise, very reasonable. The active exhaust on these keeps it tame probably 90% of the time. Of course, you can get rowdy with it. That being said, like I said before, it's not going to be staying that way. I'm not going to give away too much, but we do have something in store to kind of waken it up a little bit. Trying to keep it reasonable, though. The wife has made her request not to get as carried away as some previous toys, but got to put our stamp on it too, right? Right, everybody? All right, everybody, hope you enjoyed the walk around, the little look on the interior and some of the history on these cars. A lot more is in store, so make sure you tune in. While you're at it, go ahead and like and subscribe. It helps little guys like us help gain some foothold in this big giant YouTube and Facebook real world. So appreciate your attention. Thanks.